All right, I screwed up this morning. So, as we all do, I got caught in a YouTube rabbit hole, even though I'm on an email right now. But it did bring me a revelation. And I heard the words last night of self-doubt. And it started to think, like last night, I was like, self-doubt, like why as guys do we get it? And then it came up again this morning. I was like, why as guys do we get such bad self-doubt? Whether it be to like even talk to a girl or change careers or go for a new job or do something different, like start a business or even grow a business, like, or even get in shape. Like why as guys do we find it so hard, or at least I do, with self-doubt? And obviously number one realization I came to was like, I don't know what to do, but that can just be solved by figuring out like what to do. But after spending months and months and months, like 8 months in Bali studying the mind, studying psychology, studying metaphysics, studying like manifestation, and really how the laws of the universe works, I sort of came to a conclusion that I'm about to show you in this video. And I'm presenting it from my niece's playroom, and we're gonna do it right here. Because you can imagine, after me, not many people will tell you this, normally they'll show you some skyrise apartment in Miami talking about, you know, how they're a millionaire. And truth be told, I'm not a millionaire. I just really like psychology. I really like studying the universe, and I really like studying the self. Because I was crippled with self-doubt, insecurity, lack of belief in myself, and lack of conviction in who I was as a person. Until I realized the self, for example, we like to say, I can't do that. That's not me. And you know, someone told me I need to have more fun. So we're going to have more fun. I got my little Kiwi here. I'm from New Zealand originally. If you don't know who I am, I'm Tom McGregor. And that's who I identify the self with. But we identify ourselves with certain things based on a couple things. So whenever you say I or that's not me, you're damn right. That's not you. Because who you think you are right now, that sense of self, it can't do the thing that you want to do in your life right now, whether it be the business, whether it be talk to the girl, whether it be change your job, career, whatever it is, because you identify with a set of a couple things that are stopping you from becoming someone new. And that's the thing. When we identify ourselves as something, which inherently, I'm going to show you in this video, we're actually nothing, but the self, what we identify ourselves with. So let's say, for example, you're watching this on a laptop, right? You're not the laptop. You're not your job. You're not the couch you're sitting on watching this. You're not the phone you're sitting on watching this. You're not the things that you think that you identify yourself with, right? These worldly positions that we identify ourselves with is exactly what stops us from making progress in our life or becoming someone new, because we hang on to beliefs and experiences. There's a couple other things, but like these are the most two that we can simply quantify. And these are just memories. And I'm going to get into why. And again, you can like click off this video if you don't believe me, but I literally spent, and I'm not saying I'm like 100% an expert, but what I'm saying is I spent like 8 to 12 months studying this stuff, is we hang on to memories in our subconscious mind, which is controlled by emotion, aka energy and motion. But you can't deny, if you sit here right now and you try to identify yourself with anything, it's not just a belief and it's not just an experience that you've been through right now. You can't say right here in this present moment that you are anything, because technically you are nothing. Like you could quantify and say that you are your arm, but even saying that, like you aren't your arm, you are yourself. So you are technically, right now in this present moment, you are nothing. And my sister said to me like, oh, you're a brother. And I was like, well, that is kind of true. And I guess I'm a son. We're labeled with these things, and whatever you are, you know, you get my point. But what I'm trying to say is like in its truest form, we're actually nothing at any given point, at any given time, right here, right now. But what comes up is our beliefs and our experiences that we're like hanging on to, right? So again, like I'm not this Kiwi. I'm not this thing. You're not the laptop you're holding onto. You're not the money that you have in your bank account. You are just you. And you is technically nothing at any given point at any given time. But what happens is like when we go to try to do something, let's say you want to go talk to a girl. Let's say you think that you want to start a business. When we go try to do this, what happens is all of our memories that we're hanging on to through our subconscious mind, and that is hung on to by emotion, right? You feel like from when we're very young, you would have gone through some sort of experience that maybe you don't remember, that you're hanging on to in your subconscious mind as a memory. And whenever you bring up the idea of maybe taking a risk, taking the leap, maybe your parents or maybe your family or maybe someone you look to as an authority figure in your life told you like that's not the possible, that's not the case, something like that, growing up, or money's hard to come by, or business is hard, or 90% of businesses fail, you're hanging on to some sort of belief that's keeping you stuck exactly where you are in your subconscious mind. And then this belief is hung on to by emotion. So when you think of the emotion, all these thoughts should start to run through your head. So let's say you feel fear, you feel anxiety, you feel stress, things like that. And that's what your current sense of self is identifying with. So you're damn right that your current sense of self can't do the thing that you want to do, because your current sense of self is hanging on to all these memories, is hanging on to all these beliefs, is hanging on to all these experiences, is hanging on, most importantly, to the emotion inside of your head. And I'm not saying like you, I'm saying like you and me both, right? These are things that I struggle with all the time. You best believe coming back here, moving in with my sister into this playroom, caused a lot of damn self-doubt. But the thing is, whoa, self-doubt. We're trying to validate other people, aka parents, friends, teachers, I guess, from when we were very young. We looked at these as like all authority people, or who we care about. And by care, I mean like we love or we show affection to, and we care about their opinion. Like we like to validate them up here. And this is what our sense of self does. And when we go try change, this is why it feels so difficult, because we know inherently if we change, that our parents, that our friends, and that anyone that we quote unquote care about, or we care about their opinion about us, if we go try change, we lose the sense of self that they believe us to be. And it feels like we're losing something. In our mind, in our subconscious mind, it feels like we're losing something. And it doesn't really know the difference, but it almost feels like a death. And here's why. Because Albert Einstein said it, that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. And I never really understood what this meant until when you go try change, you got to remember that you are a living energy. You are a living entity. You are energy in the universe. And when you go try to do something different, you're hanging on to what I like to call, again, emotion. Energy in motion. And this emotion is attached to validating others, your friends, your parents, things like that. There's people in your life that you care about. And when you go try change, you're trying to let go of the past emotions that you're hanging on to from your sense of self. Who these people believe, your parents and your friends, or the people that you care about, who believe that you are. And the problem with this is who you are right now can't achieve the goals that you want to achieve. And I'm speaking not like you, I'm speaking like you and me both. Like, you have to become someone new. And this is the problem, is people don't know how to explain this. And it's because your old sense of self, you're identifying with all these people. You're identifying with all these emotions in the background without you even knowing it. And what happens is when you go try to talk to the girl, when you go try to start the business, when you go try to get in shape, for example, your identity is still attached. Your sense of self is still attached to everything that you believe to be true about the world right now, after your experiences and your beliefs that you've been through so far in your life. So your current sense of self, there's a thing called the battle. So there's peaks and there's troughs. Your current sense of self and the sense of self that you think that you can become is up here, right? You think it's this grand gesture. You think it's this grand jump. But the truth of the matter is it's just aligning and making yourself a better person. And the good thing about this is that all it takes is new traits, aka habits. And this is your old self. I don't know, you might drink. Basically, it's your old traits. I'm not going to say drinking or anything's bad for you because, like, well, it is bad for you, obviously. But, like, people can still become millionaires and drink, things like that. But whatever you want out of your life, whatever you're trying to become someone new, all it is the new traits that you must embody, right? All it is actually a decision. I want to be this person. And then you align the character and you align the traits with that. That's literally it. But the reason it feels so hard is because it's an old energy, an old entity, will try hold you back, wants to be fed. Your old sense of self, who knows you better than you know yourself, because it's literally a living and breathing entity, a living and breathing energy. In a book, it's called Egregores. Another one, it's called Pendulums, which is a great book, Reality Transurfing. And basically, your sense of self is literally just a living and breathing entity. And when you go try change, it just feels difficult because you're attaching all this emotion to the past people that knew you for who you are right now. But as long as you remember that at any given point in time, you are actually nothing. At any given point right now, I'm nothing. So what I mean by this is when you go to ask the girl, or when you go to make the video, or when you go to change in your business, you can bring yourself back to neutrality. It's the easiest way to do it. Like any time that you go to do the thing when you feel the stress, when you feel the anxiety, when you feel the worry, when you feel what other feelings you feel when you go to try to do something that you're not used to, bring yourself back to neutrality, right? Bring yourself back to absolute pure nothingness, because you are nothing, right? And then from there, you get to make a fair decision on what you want the outcome to be. Because if you're trying to change an outcome in a negative state of mind, or a negative state of mind through stress, through anxiety, through worry, if you're trying to change an outcome and trying to become someone new from the state of mind on who you believe yourself to be right now at this present point in time, the sense of self that you have right now through your past experiences, through your past beliefs, it makes it impossible to actually do it because you're coming from a negative frame of mind. You're coming from a state of worry, from fear, from guilt, from shame. And I'm not saying it's bad to feel these things, but you have to act in alignment with the person that you want to become and the outcome that you want to have. So let's say you go to talk to a girl, for example. What's the outcome that you want? Like, what do you actually think that you'd feel? And I'll give you an example. It's like, before making this video, I was like, I don't want to make this video. I don't want to make this video. And I started to think, like, what would I actually feel once it's done? And it was like relief. So I was like, all right, well, why am I waiting to feel relief when I can just feel it now? And when you start to picture this and start to embody this and start to do it and identify the emotion that you would feel upon attaining your goal or your desired reality or the desired outcome that you want. Let's say you go to shoot a video. Let's say you go to talk to a girl. Majority of the time, and I think Neville Goddard talks about this, we would most of the time feel relief once we attain something. Everyone thinks it's like this massive joy, this massive excitement. But I think it's quite true in the fact that it's like relief, a sense of peace and a sense of maybe love. But I think the biggest one that I've found is relief. So if you sit in that feeling, why are you waiting to feel it? And that's the thing that I want to finish on. Because when you understand that you're nothing and you bring yourself back to neutrality by sitting there and asking yourself, like, well, is this outcome or is this thing so hard, going to talk to this person, going to do this thing? Am I just hanging on to a belief and experience that I've been through once before in my life? When you bring yourself back to neutrality and you realize that I'm actually nothing, you get to then determine how you want to feel in that given scenario. Because if you've felt love, peace, joy, excitement, whatever it is that you think that you'd feel, or relief from getting the desired outcome from what you want, if you've felt that feeling before, it means you can feel it again, and it means that you get to choose that you want to feel it, right? So to get your desire, ask yourself what yourself, who you're becoming, would feel upon completion. And that's really all it is. You bring yourself to that feeling upon completion. So you go from negative, I'll put up the map here, neutral, and then feeling upon completion. The feeling upon completion, you act as if it's already done, right? Neville Goddard talked about this, but other than that, it's really like so easy for me to like say things like this. And truth be told, me telling you that it's like a belief that you're holding on to, an experience that you're holding on to, it's just a belief that it's difficult from our human monkey minds, that it's difficult to do this change. But inherently it's not. It's just a switch of frequency and deciding, I don't want to feel negative about this. I know it's just a belief. I know it's just an experience. I need to bring myself back to being neutral, and then I get to feel the feeling of as if it's already done. And when you act from this state of mind, from this feeling that it's already done in your head, when you act in alignment with that, you're probably acting from one of the higher levels of consciousness, right? Courage, peace, enlightenment, fulfillment, joy. You're probably acting from that, and that's going to show that you're not needing it. Because whenever you think that you want something, your sense of self wants something, you're telling the universe that you don't have it, and therefore that you need it. But when you're acting from a place of the higher levels of consciousness, you're acting as if you've already got it. And then the actions will unfold in alignment with what you want. So that's really it. You have to re-identify what your new sense of self. When I say this, you're not really identifying with anything, but you get the choice to identify with how things want to go. And it's, I don't want to say it's hard, like I said, because that's setting you up for it to be hard, but it's hard to remember this after all the programming that we've been through in our lives. But yeah, anyway, love you guys.